and it is leading to a lot of inflation for food prices. And to speak more about what the devastating consequences of these floods are going to have on the food security of Pakistan, we have Amar Hayat Bandara, who is a progressive farmer and member of the Prime Minister's Committee on Solarization of Agriculture of Tube Wells. Thank you so much for joining us today. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So, Amir sir, first of all, I think thank you so much for taking our time. And obviously, in these testing times where the top priority is to save lives, we really need to kind of start talking about how the food security will actually kind of have its impact. Because for a lot of farmers that I've been speaking to, they do say that that a lot of their fields have been washed away by floods. What's your take on this?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me on this very crucial and important issue at this time. And before going towards the impact of food security, I must congratulate and congratulate the nation and thanks to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, who has built and presented a very strong case about the climate change impact on the agriculture sector, particularly in Pakistan at the SCO summit. It was same that he did in 2022. But the problem is that when you're talking about climate change and global warming, like you were earlier discussing, the fault and the contribution to the greenhouse gas emissions from Pakistan is much lower than it is being impacted. We are among the top 5 nations who are being impacted with the impact of climate change, while our role is negative in that. And when you talk about these floods, particularly in 2025, they have shown us that food security is not just about farmer. It's about the entire nation. Our rice, our maize, and our sesame, these 3 are very important crops. 2 of them are the export-oriented crops who are underwater now, where the flood water is there. And we must say that at the moment, we cannot assess that how much damage a farmer or a nation would be facing in the near future, because the water is coming as of now. Our crops are underwater, and those crops underwater who are actually our export crops that are generating revenue for the Pakistan's economy. So food security today, I think, must be treated as a national security for tomorrow. Farmers in Punjab have lost not only their standing crops, but also fodder, seeds, and even the ability to sow for the next crop. So it is very important to stand beside our farming community, because flood is not just destroying our fields, but it's destroying our future maybe. So it's a time to come together, and I must appreciate the district administration particularly, who on the advices of the provincial government in Punjab, particularly if I talk about Punjab, are doing wonders. Earlier when we were having floods, farmers were just looking for their own evacuation. Like just before a few minutes, Malik Hamid Saab has informed the nation that they have evacuated 1.4 million people from thousands of villages. So, but this was the thing that already sometimes happens, but at this massive scale, it never happened. And the most important thing, if you know about the rural culture, the small families, the small farmers have always animals with them for their household economy and to feed the nation with meat and milk. And this time, the most important issue emerged in the flood riverine area was to feed those animals whose fodder was washed away. And this time we have seen that government and the district administration all across Punjab, particularly if I talk about my district in Pakpatan, not only the people was evacuated, but also the animals with the help of Punjab Emergency Services, the boats, and they were also provided as same fodder which were being provided to the humans. So this is what we have been experiencing so far by the government and by some sort of a philanthropist as well, but mostly it's being done by our state and our government.
Can you hear me? Bandara, I'm really sorry to barge in, but we have been talking about it, whether how the condition is, the evacuation or the flood hit areas, how the relief operation is taking place. But sir, precisely what we would want to talk about is food security with you. Now imagine that paddy was forecast to open at 3,200 to 3,600 rupees per 40 kg, but with flood damage prices could rise to 5,000 to 5,500. And I'm actually kind of mentioning a credible news agency over here. How do you think that the government is actually going to curb the menace of people who will take advantage over here and probably will sell or probably will look towards the black market?
And sorry, Shehbaz, let me just club another question with this, and that is regarding that price hikes are already happening, right? So tomatoes have risen up to 200 per kg, potatoes have risen up to 150 per kg, garlic has risen up to 300 per kg, and chicken as well. It's risen up to almost 1,200 per kg, right? So now just common vegetables are becoming a luxury. How is this going to affect the dinner table for just common families in Pakistan?
What I want to say here is all these crops which you have mentioned are already ripen. They are not in the field. This has to be managed, and this is being managed. I have heard about the recent government of Punjab's action to stop the inter-provincial wheat. If I talk about wheat, let me come towards the other vegetables and commodities we have discussed earlier. So this looks like an artificial price hike for a few days due to this. And if the government is at the district level, at the tehsil level, at the provincial level going to take serious measures, we already have a bumper wheat crop last year, so there is no shortage of wheat. We already have a bumper crop of potato. There is no shortage of potatoes. Similarly, the things which are being devastated or washed away in the floods are those crops who are standing, who will be coming in the near future, like rice was at the harvest stage or somewhere at the maturity stage. So all these, the commodity prices being risen up looks like artificially, and it can become, and I believe that with the strong measures, it will be taken care within the next few days and the prices will become back to their original prices.
Exactly, inshallah, and that's exactly what we hope for as well, and where you have actually spoken about bumper of, potatoes. Obviously, it more like looks like, unfortunately, because of the floods. I do know I would want to be positive, but it's from bumper to bust. But now imagine, do you think that, unfortunately for us, we might not be able to build dams that quickly, but do you think that the governments really need to sit down and make sure that wherever the flood prone areas are, that we could actually kind of convince the farmer or people like you who could actually go on to doing farming at areas which are not that quickly? But do you think that the governments really need to sit down and make sure that wherever the flood prone areas are, that we could actually kind of convince the farmer or people like you who could actually go on to doing farming at areas which are not very flood prone?
You need to understand the flood path, actually. This is not everywhere. The river has a state land. There are several lands who are registered on the names of the farmers. Those lands are their own agricultural lands. So how to stop them to cultivate that particular land which is dried up when the water is not here? So when you are talking about climate change and these flood type of things, you need to have an understanding of the climate adaptation. Adaptation does have a cost. And who is going to pay that cost? That's the question. We always look into the government, but it is very important to now rethink our design of adaptation and our business model, that there are businesses who are actually earning money from the farming community, from the state, and from all the agriculture value chain. They must have to be invited at the government table to play their role and to invest something in the adaptation. Let's say if there is a path of surplus in Pakpatan district and there are few lands available to the farmers like mine, how the government is going to give us the opportunity to relocate that land for the rivers. So this is the time, and perhaps this is the right time to decide, while talking to the farmers, the business community, and the government, that what is the adaptation measure we can do. Are we going to make embankments on the public places, or we are going to make embankments or allow embankments for the people, for the private people? So we need to, I think, rethink and make our adaptation plan, perhaps the community adaptation plan, for saving our future generation. And this is the right and high time to do that.
Thank you so much for saying that, and certainly it's people like you, because you happen to be the member Prime Minister's Committee on Solarization of Agriculture Tube Well, so probably you could bring it to the table. But sir, one last question, and once again it's going to be $1 million question, and that is that cotton losses also threaten the textile industry, which makes up more than half of Pakistan exports, and at a time when the country faces a 19% US tariff in its biggest market. How do you think we're going to curb that?
Certainly, this is a very important question, because it was not only sesame and the rice which is going to be disturbed with this flood. it is also cotton. So again, I would say that we need to perhaps go for that kind of planning and policy for a long term and a short term both. That where our cotton and where our which crop can be grown in an efficient way and a more productive way. So perhaps this is the time that where we can discuss these type of policies. The time will come soon when the water will be dried and you will start rehabilitating the people, the farmers, and there would certainly be challenges, certainly facing the challenges like the cotton you were talking about, the tariff and those type of things. So we need to, I think, sit together with all the industry and all the value chain, which is perhaps the businesses are not more interested in the farming community and the farming practices. It's always the government. This is what I have been saying for long, and I just discussed with you in this program, that we need to invite everyone to discuss how we can make our agriculture more productive, more resilient, and more adaptive towards not only climate change, but these type of international scenarios where our produce can be sold in the international market in a very good way.
So much, Bandara Sahab, for being with us. Thank you so much for being so well versed. Not just that, for having that information that we certainly wanted to squeeze out of you. It was wonderful to be in conversation with you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
And Shehzad, I really applaud him. He knows that regarding food security, it's not just humans that are being affected, it's animals as well. The same animals that provide us with milk and protein and meat and leather.
And they are a part of our value chain.
They definitely are, and they're the ones starving as well. So we really need to come together and fix this issue, especially because of the fact that the world, in a holistic view, has a very low percentage